I don't think it was an accident that the Blodgett and St. John's look alike, because they were started by two similar groups of people at the same time, both concerned about the same thing, orphan children in Grand Rapids.
So 125 years ago, D.A. Blodgett, who was a lumber baron, donated dollars, and his wife, as a community member, helped found this agency. And at the same time, you had Bishop Richter, who had just received an inheritance from the estate of John Clancy, also a lumber baron, to build an orphanage for children. You had that going on at the very same time in this community.
He invited the Dominican sisters to staff that orphanage. I think they brought the values and caring for children to St. John's. Through all the ups and downs of 2 world wars and a depression and lots of other things, the notion of the founders of those agencies somehow managed to survive year to year and get passed on. Back in the 70s and 80s, the only thing that everybody in child welfare talked about was money. And it was the one thing that George and I didn't talk about that often. Most of American child welfare was going down the wrong path, trying to pursue schemes of treatment and services that just were never going to work. In those days, the notion of loving kids had sort of disappeared from child welfare. People didn't talk that way then. And in a way, I think we brought that back into both of the agencies.
We wanted to have innovative programs with quality that we could measure, quality that we could show to our donors, show to our staff, show to the community. Because everybody says we provide the best services. We wanted to be able to prove that.
And he not only instituted those things at Blodgett, he convinced the whole county to operate Kent County's child welfare system that way.
You know, there's an old saying, if you're not making dust, you're eating dust. And I think that holds true today.
The way that you instill that innovation and move forward is to listen. To listen to my staff, to listen to the kids, to listen to what they need, what they're seeing, what their hopes and aspirations are, so that we're driven by that. The common thread of the last 125 years with our agency has really been about each individual child and serving each individual child and what's in their best interests, which is different and varies for every single child that we serve. So having one agency, we are the only agency in this community that does shelter, foster care, adoption, residential care, big brothers, big sisters. The difference that it provides to a child is that there really is no wrong door with our agency.
This is a very unique agency in Michigan that has a full range of child welfare service and an absolute obsession about quality and loving children.
It's always been, over 125 years, a partnership between the professionals of our agency and what we do and those supportive community members, foundations, and corporations in our community who stand behind us and beside us and help us be able to do this work.
George and I always imagined that St. John's Home and D.A. Blodgett belonged to the community, not to us. And I think the community does still have a big stake in both of these agencies and a commitment to both of them, and that's exactly the way it ought to be. That's what's good for kids in this community.
While things change and while we need to innovate, vulnerable children are vulnerable children, and families that need support are families that need support. To know that we've been doing this for 125 years and to feel the power behind that, to feel the strength behind the fact that we've done this for 125 years and there's no reason in the world to think that we can't do this for another 125 years with all of the partners and partnerships that we have in this community. What motivates me to do the job that I do every day and go into work every day is really the children that we serve. Where my office is located, I get to see a lot of interaction. It's gonna make me cry. It's always makes me cry. Don't put me crying in here now. Between children and their families. So when I see children who come to the agency to visit with their parents, it always gets me.